This is my Singer 237 from Michigan. This is the one that had been dropped and shipped poorly and all kinds of things, and it just runs wonderfully now. And I want to show you something, and this is about the Bishop Sewing Systems hand crank. Now yesterday I was doing some jeans for somebody, and what I want to show you first is this is how the machine runs as an electric. Now that I've tightened the belt, that's what my problem was yesterday, and I've got it running, I've got the motor belt adjusted correctly. Okay, so you can hear how loud that is. The machine runs great. Now, the belt was a little loose when I was doing those jeans, and I had to also make a pair of jeans into shorts. So I was hemming them through like 3 layers. And then at the seams, they were especially thick with like 5 layers. So if I used this 237 as an electric, I had to actually either back way up or go way forward in front of the seam bump, and then either back up onto it or try to run over it really fast. This is what I want to show you is a comparison. This is now not using the motor, but with the Bishop hand crank. So as far as noise, what you're hearing is actually the belt go around on the motor. This machine is almost silent with the Bishop hand crank, which kind of has me thinking, because this has zigzag and a needle position ability, that I may not buy a White Family rotary, I'll just use these. But in addition, I'm going to take the motor off, not only for the noise level, but when I was sewing those jeans yesterday, if I used the hand crank only and not the motor, I went right over the big jean seam bump without an issue. It was just like I was just going around the seam and went right over the bump and kept going. So I just want to mention to people that the major drawback to the Bishop Sewing Systems hand crank is that it's 1 crank per turn, and but with the jeans, so I had like 4 or 5 patches on each pair, and then I had to hem 1 pair. Altogether about 4 hours worth of work. I could have done that easily with just the Bishop hand crank and not using the motor. So the 237s, as much as Miller said the white, any rotary machine is quiet, this is quiet. This, even with the motor, didn't bother my dog, but I want it more quiet because I think long-term quiet is going to be a thing I have to think about. So it's kind of, if you have an electric that can use a Bishop Sewing Systems hand crank, like a 99, a featherweight, I can even use that on the 1591, but that motor obviously is a direct drive motor. Any of them that can take a Bishop Sewing Systems hand crank, and I'll put the link to the video about the hand crank specifically in the information section. You get a full service machine with zigzag, straight stitch, can take all the Singer attachments. It's a full-size bed. I can use the circular stitcher and do big circles. A 237 with a hand crank from Bishop Sewing Systems, I think, is the way to use a modern machine, 1968 to 1972, silently, without having to buy a rotary.